Hi, this is Stephen Simpson and welcome to our video on Google AdWords. Today we're going to cover the basics, so we're going to cover getting established with Google, setting up your first account, actually creating your first campaign. We're going to cover how to write appealing ad copy for your advertisements and how to use keywords. So what you're going to come away with is your first live AdWords account. So let's get straight into it and get the account established. Okay, well here comes the exciting part. Let's get that AdWords account established and let's get straight into getting our first campaign up and running. So if you haven't already done so, you need to navigate to this homepage. The simplest way I find is actually just to Google the term AdWords and it'll be number one in the search rankings. And by clicking on the link, of course, you'll be taken directly to this homepage. So once we're there, we need to get signed up. So there's the sign up link. So let's click on that. And here's the create account page. Now, in the past, if you've created any Google accounts, such as YouTube or Gmail, you can actually use that to access or to create your own the AdWords account. But I'll make the assumption that you don't. So therefore, click on the I do not use radio button, and then you're prompted to enter your email address and create a password for the account. The recommendation here, of course, is that the password should be a mixture of upper and lowercase letters and numbers and symbols. But the important thing to remember is it just needs to be at least 8 characters in length. So once you've done that, re-enter the password here. And if you can read the CAPTCHA characters, enter them into this box here and agree to the terms of service and create account. Now I already have an account, so I'm just going to navigate backwards slightly and I'll sign into my own account. Okay, the main thing to be or not to worry about here is all the data that you're now seeing in front of you. Just ignore that for the time being. We'll come back to that at a later stage and we'll go into what it actually is telling you in more detail. Let's just get the basics done first. So the first thing we want to do is to create a campaign. So second left tab is campaigns. Just click on that. And from here, you'll see all the campaigns currently live, but we just want to create a new campaign, which is by pressing this button here. Now, you're given the opportunity to either use the search and display network or the search or display networks individually. At the beginning, I would certainly suggest at this stage that you use both the search and display networks. It gives you the widest coverage and it's, as a starting point for beginners, that's definitely the place to start. So let's select search and display. Okay, so now you've got an opportunity to name your campaign. So let's make a fictitious campaign, shall we? Which let's say is ladies' shoes. They do love their shoes, apparently. So that's fantastic, and I can't spell shoes, so let's get that right. So again, this is where we could actually select the individual network, which is the organic search, or whether we want to use the display network, which includes things like YouTube and AdSense and things like that. But as I say, let's use the standards settings, which is search and display. So that's good. We won't have any existing campaigns, so ignore that for the time being. Leave it on the default, which is for all mobile devices and tablets. That's obviously becoming more and more prevalent these days, so definitely important just to make sure it shows on all devices. Now, locations obviously gives us the opportunity to target specific geographical locations. At the moment, I've got this set for Australia because I'm based in Brisbane. I could actually target very specifically just Brisbane by selecting the Let Me Choose radio button and entering Brisbane specifically there. You can even do that by region or postcode, as it prompts you below the box there. So it gives you the opportunity to create highly targeted campaigns, and it's a great way of actually testing your campaigns before going to a broader audience. Obviously, if we selected all countries and states, territories, then our budget would be exhausted in no time flat because they would be displayed worldwide. And unless you've got a very, very large budget, I would suggest that we leave that to the side for the moment. Languages gives you the option to select any language that you want. I've left it at the default, which is English. But if you do want to target specific regions and have sites set up for different languages, etc., then I would certainly encourage you to be very specific with your language requirements there. This is probably one of the most important areas, and this is the actual bidding and budgeting. So, the strategy that I would suggest to start with is probably either manually set your bids or just let AdWords set the bids. The risk, I suppose, in letting AdWords to set the bids to help you maximize the clicks is that it could potentially be higher than you might be able to get by setting your bids manually. And secondly, it's to AdWords' advantage to have your budget exhausted as quickly as possible. So I would, most of my campaigns, I actually set them manually, but you need to do a little bit of research, and that's something we're going to come on to later using the keyword research tool to try and find out what is the optimal cost per click that you're going to pay. Cost per click is a term you'll come across a lot in AdWords, and it's abbreviated to CPC, so cost per click. Okay, so you can set your default bid, and let's say we just want to do that at, let's say, 50 cents per click. So that's where you'd put that there. And the budget, well, my budget for my ladies' shoe campaign is going to be, I don't know, let's give it a try. Let's say $50 per day. Now, ad extensions, let's leave these for the time being. I'll come back to those in greater detail in a more detailed introduction to AdWords. At the moment, we just want to get our campaign up and running and to test it before we actually commit more money to it and refine it before we really get behind it big style. So now that we've done that, let's save and continue. Now it's telling me I've put the wrong amount in because I've put 3 zeros at the end, so that's correct. Thank you, Google. So we're saving that at $50 per day. And this is the really important side. This is where we actually create the ad. So that you can give your ad group a name here. This is internal and is not something. It's just something you use to to understand your campaign name or the sub group name that we're going to create under ladies' shoes, which is obviously the main campaign. So let's say ladies, ladies evening shoes. So now we want to create the actual ad, and it will display a preview in this area here. So the headline is the most important aspect of any advertisement, of course. It's got to grab the attention of the viewer and encourage that all-important click. So we are limited into characters here, so let's think, what would be a good ads for ladies' evening shoes? Spectacular ladies' shoes. And you can see that I've just got one more character left there. I can't spell, so let's just change that again. Spectacular ladies' shoes. Let's write the body copy now. So I want to stand out from the crowd. And I've come to the end of my characters. So sometimes it's well worth planning, or it's always well worth planning the exact number of characters you have available and playing around with your adverts to get the best possible ad for the space that you have. So want to stand out from the crowd, then you need a pair of these shoes. Okay, Then we need to enter the display URL. So this is the domain that you are using. So let's say we own the domain ladiesshoes.com. We would then put it in here, ladiesshoes.com. Again, I can't spell. And you can see that your ad is being previewed here, so we're building it as we're going. Now, I want to touch on this. This is the destination URL. Now, what that means is if when someone actually clicks the link, where do they actually go to? Now, in marketing, that's generally nowadays to landing pages, and that's where you'd either do data capture and things like that, or it could be directly, of course, to your website, your main website. Which would be perfect. If you're using landing pages, a word of warning here that the destination URL must go to the a subdomain of that domain. So ladiesshoes.com it must be part of the destination URL. So this is not displayed, but it's very important to understand that ladiesshoes.com form part of it. So if we wanted to take them to, for an example, to an offer that is specific to this advertisement, so let's say our evening shoes, then your destination URL may be a separate page, a subdomain of ladiesshoes.com. So it might be evening shoes. So that may well be the domain that you'd be going to. But the most important thing to remember is to say that that is actually part of the URL. If you put anything else in there, it will be disallowed. Okay, that's to stop people thinking they're going to ladiesshoes.com when they're actually taken to an entirely different area. So it's misleading, and that's why Google checks that subdomain actually exists, and if it doesn't, it will disallow it. So that's it for the moment for creating an ad, and let's get on to the keywords. Congratulations, that's you set up now. You've got your first Google AdWords campaign up and running. Now, to get the most benefit out of this, we would suggest that you watch the other videos in this series. They've been created with the express purpose of giving you a complete understanding of how to make money on the internet. So the good thing is they're modular, so you can watch them in any order you choose. But we do suggest you do watch all of them. If you do so, you're going to come away with a clear understanding of how to create an automated marketing platform for your business, and this is ultimately going to make you more money. Look, I hope you've enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.